They'll talk about how smart their Malinois is, how loyal, how athletic, how fast they learn. But there's one thing most Malinois owners won't admit, at least not out loud. And it's the thing that matters most. This breed will break you before it builds you. Everyone loves the highlight reel. The videos of perfect obedience, bite sleeves, rooftop jumps, and flawless focus drills. But what you don't see is what happens off camera. The broken blinds, the destroyed couches, the panic attacks, the frustration that creeps in late at night when the house is finally quiet. What you don't see is the guilt, the shame, the internal voice whispering, maybe I made a mistake. Because to admit it would mean admitting that maybe they weren't ready. And that's terrifying. The truth is, most Belgian Malinois owners go through a phase of burnout. Not because they don't love their dog, but because love isn't enough. Because intelligence isn't obedience. Because drive isn't loyalty, not until it's channeled. And that channeling, it's relentless. Every single day, every hour, every decision. The Malinois is not a dog that forgives chaos. They don't wait for you to get it together. They don't adapt to your life. They demand that you adapt to theirs. And if you don't, they will spiral. They will dominate. They will take control, not out of malice, but out of necessity. Because when leadership is absent, they assume the role. And they're very good at it. But that comes at a price, because most people don't want to admit that their dog is smarter than them, that their dog is more focused, more consistent, more intense. It's a humbling experience, and most of us aren't ready to be humble. What every Malinois owner refuses to admit is that there's a moment, usually early on, when it all falls apart. When the gear doesn't help, when the training tips fail, when the dog looks at you and says in their own quiet way, "You're not ready." And the worst part? They're right. You realize this isn't about sit, stay, heel. This is about posture, tone, energy. Whether or not you're grounded when you give a command, whether your dog trusts you to hold a boundary without flinching, whether you trust yourself. This breed will pull out your insecurities like thread from a sweater. They will find the weak points in your discipline, your confidence, your routine. Not to exploit them, but because they need to know. Can I follow you? Will you lead me? Do you mean what you say? Most of us don't realize we're being tested, but we are. Every day. And when you fail that test because you will, it hurts. It's not a dramatic failure. It's quiet. It's when they stop checking in, when they make decisions without you, when they stop listening, not because they're stubborn, but because they're scared, because they don't trust your leadership anymore. But here's where the story changes, for the ones who stay, the ones who face the mirror instead of running from it, the ones who stop blaming the dog and start building themselves. Those people discover something incredible. They wake up early, they build routines, they speak less, they move with purpose, they learn to breathe before reacting. They create clarity in their home, in their energy, in their presence. And the dog responds, not with tail wags and tricks, but with presence, with alignment, with a kind of loyalty that feels ancient, earned. What most Malinois owners don't tell you is that the transformation isn't just the dog's, it's yours. You become more structured, more emotionally stable, more precise. And that changes everything, because now the dog has a reason to follow you. Not because you dominate, but because you lead. This breed doesn't need noise. They don't need affection. They don't need praise. They need a mission. They need to see that you have one too. And when that clicks, when you finally lock eyes and realize that this bond isn't about control but cooperation, it becomes sacred. You move as one. You read each other. You anticipate. You protect one another without being told. But none of that comes easy. You have to go through the fire. You have to be broken and rebuilt. And most Malinois owners won't talk about that because it makes them feel weak. Because it means admitting that they doubted themselves, that they failed, that they questioned everything. But the truth is, that's where the story begins. So if you're thinking of getting a Belgian Malinois, don't just prepare your home, prepare your mind, your emotions, your lifestyle, because this dog isn't asking for your love. They're asking for your evolution. And if you're already in the thick of it, if you're overwhelmed, if you're exhausted, if you're ashamed, you're not alone. Every strong Malinois partnership started where you are. In the chaos, in the doubt, in the part no one posts about. Because what every Belgian Malinois owner refuses to admit is, this dog changed them. Not just their schedule, not just their training, but them. Drop a comment if you've hit that breaking point, or if you're finally climbing out of it. Like this video if you've been humbled by this breed but came back stronger. Subscribe for more raw, honest content about life with the most demanding and most rewarding dog on earth. She